up on West Side Stories, a new decision affecting the Boy Scouts of America is being met with mixed reactions.
And we check out a combat submarine turned museum that's giving West Michigan residents an authentic naval experience.
Plus, how one Muskegon rescue mission is helping give back to those in need this winter. All that and plenty more next on West Side Stories.
West Side Stories is produced by students from the Multimedia Journalism program at Grand Valley State University. Support also comes from the School of Communications. Inspiring thought, perfecting practice.
Welcome to West Side Stories. I'm Preston Donikoski.
And I'm Callie Hubbard. Boy Scouts of America's decision to allow girls to join alongside boys has been met with some mixed reactions. Our own Reagan Blissett reports on local reaction to the news.
The Boy Scouts of America are celebrating their 108th birthday, and at the beginning of 2018, a big change took place. Boy Scouts of America made the decision to admit girls into their organization.
Now, many people don't know that girls have been in scouting for well over 30 years through our venturing programs and our exploring programs, but not in our other programs. And we thought it was important to start listening to the people that are involved in scouting, and what we kept hearing over and over again was that they wanted to see a family option that would provide scouting to the girls of their family, not only their boys.
The policy started on January 8th, allowing girls to join Cub Scout, which is ages 5 through 10. Girls older than 5th grade won't be merged into Boy Scouts until 2019. The BSA says they're making the change to make things more convenient for families with girls and boys. Since January, 2 West Michigan charter groups have seen girls join the program. Witten has 3 daughters that will be joining as well.
With their dad working for the Boy Scouts, they've had an opportunity to be drug along and tag along all this time, and now they officially get to participate in some of these things and earn the badges or patches just like the boys do.
One of the reasons why girls want to join is to achieve the high rank of Eagle Scout. It is the highest achieved rank you can get in a scouting program. Logan Church, a Grand Valley State University student, is very proud of his Eagle Scout status.
We went to Neil Armstrong was an Eagle Scout. Shane Victorino, the Flying Hawaiian, he was a baseball player, was an Eagle Scout. Matt Mitchell, the head coach of the football team, was an Eagle Scout. It's just an honor. It's like a part of a brotherhood that you can always put on your resume that you're an Eagle Scout, and you'll always get compliments or comments about it, and it's just a really cool and nice title to have.
The brotherhood will now include a sisterhood. But will Girl Scouts follow suit and let anyone join their ranks? No, says Mackenzie Schondelmeyer.
We really strive ourselves on being able to provide that safe space to take out the competition where girls can be comfortable to pursue what it is that they want to pursue. We are for the girl, by the girl, with the girl. And so that's what we're holding fast to.
Girl Scouts is also a space where members can earn a high rank comparable to Eagle Scout. Schondelmeyer says Girl Scouts' highest award is the Gold Award. She says the Gold Award is every bit as prestigious as the Eagle Scout Award.
The Girl Scout Gold Award is the highest achievement that a girl can earn in a leadership development program for girls, period. What a lot of people don't realize is that our Gold Award, if you go into the military and you're a recipient, you do enter a rank higher, just like the Eagle Scout Award.
The BSA hopes to be an outlet for girls who think Girl Scouts is not for them. Tracy Brame is a den mother and thinks that her daughter will still learn leadership skills that both organizations intend to teach.
I think that girls should be given an opportunity to explore all different kinds of interests. So just because she goes out in the field or climbs hills or whatever, doesn't mean that she doesn't also learn to sew. Any more than it means just because my son, right, goes off to Boy Scout camp that he doesn't know how to do the laundry, right? Like, I think that they should have the space to be well-rounded people and decide for themselves who they are as a young man or a young woman. My daughter loves making slime and buying earrings, but she can gut a fish just as well as any Boy Scout, and I think that's beautiful,
Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, each organization is meant to instill those core values. Reporting for West Side Stories in Walker, I'm Reagan Blissett.
2019 will be the first year girls over the age of 10 will be allowed into the Boy Scout program. Until then, the organization says they will plan on how to make it a smooth transition.
I think most of us would agree it's been a very cold, very snowy winter, so it's more important than ever for everyone to have shelter from the elements. Jessica Kroll heads to Muskegon to see how one volunteer-based rescue mission is sheltering those in need.
For over 110 years, the Christian-based and nonprofit Muskegon Rescue Mission has been giving shelter to families in need in West Michigan. Of the two locations, the Women and Children's Shelter, located at 1691 Peck Street, has been recently renovated, now allowing them to house boys until the age of 17.
By being able to house older boys, we were able to keep families intact where moms were not able to have their children with them before and had to probably separate them and put them in different households. We're able to bring that family in together and supply them with resources and materials that they need to transition from emergency shelter into their own home.
The shelter aims at getting families back on their feet. They require classes such as financing for adults and give them jobs at their local thrift stores to help build resumes.
We do ask, too, that those with income participate in money management and saving, and that's teaching them how to save while they're here, teaching them how to prepare for things when they transition out of the shelter, how to make a budget, how to write out checks.
Through the New Life program at the men's shelter, men stay for 1 year and focus on rebuilding their lives with a biblical background.
We actually take guys from the shelter side, sometimes off of the streets, and we help them really rehabilitate their lives, acclimate them more to the life of Christ. They actually walk away with a new outlook on things. We walk with them here in the program. So when you have a passion for that, you just want to see the best come out for everybody.
Volunteers are a large part of what keeps the mission running, and volunteering benefits more than just the homeless.
When you volunteer, many times people come to give of themselves, but in return they find that they not only give, but they gain a lot. Not only do they gain experience, but they gain experience in the sense that you are hands-on doing what God sent us to do, which is, to love people, to demonstrate the love, the kindness, to shelter them, to feed the hungry. So you are fulfilling the calling.
Volunteering and working at the shelter lets people be part of something bigger than just themselves.
It makes me feel good because I know the mission is here to help and to be less fortunate and to be able to come to a place where you can get help. It's a joy. It's just a blessing from the Lord.
The men's shelter, located at 400 West Laketon Drive, also houses the rescue mission's food pantry. Guests at the shelter receive 3 meals a day and a snack. On Thursdays, the shelter gives food to other families in need around the area. All items are donated and then organized by volunteers.
The biggest way that volunteers help is just really donating their time in our kitchens, at our thrift stores, child care, and chapel, leading chapel services in the evenings at both the women and family shelter and the men's shelter.
But that's not all that volunteers do with the mission. Through a program called Finishing Touches, volunteers donate anything they can to help furnish the dorms.
No matter how big or how small, donation is still appreciated towards the finishing touches. Without that, we wouldn't be able to have the East Wing and West Wing renovated to provide more rooms and also to make it possible to house older boys.
According to a report released in late 2017 by the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, almost 10,000 families were homeless in 2016. That's over 24,000 people living without a home.
You don't need to go, to a different country. There's people in your backyard, in your community that are in need.
In Muskegon for West Side Stories, I'm Jessica Kroll.
If you're looking for a way to help out, the shelter is always looking for donations for their food pantry, including items like boxed cereal, peanut butter, jelly, and canned meats.
The USS Silverside served as a combat submarine in World War II, and it saw a lot of action. Today, the USS Silverside's mission is to educate West Michigan visitors with an authentic naval experience. Here's Jake O'Donnell keeping things shipshape in Muskegon.
Its days of navigating the waters of the Pacific Theater may be long over. However, after sinking 30 Japanese warships and damaging many more, the old sub has many stories to tell. Nowadays, the job of the USS Silverside Submarine Museum is to do just that. As Executive Director Peggy Manianis explains, it not only is important to pass on the stories of the vessel, but also the stories of those who served.
Our first director, Robert Morton, really wanted to bring a vessel to Muskegon because Muskegon was so important during World War II. There was a great deal of manufacturing that was done here in Muskegon that supplied a lot of parts to so many different other vessels and to so much more of the Army. And so he wanted to bring something here to honor Muskegon's World War II past because she was one of the arsenals of democracy.
The museum's mission has attracted many people throughout the years, perhaps not as many as the Scouts, who travel from all across the region for such a unique experience. As Joe Caruso, leader of Troop 39 in LaGrange, Illinois, says, the museum has done a great job of working with groups like the Scouts.
I'm just really impressed on how well they've done a job of setting up the museum, as well as having the submarine available for the Scouts and the public to come in and take a look at. And I like the ability for the Scouts to learn firsthand and to see the things that were part of their history.
For years now, the USS Silverside's museum has provided a once-in-a-lifetime way for Scouts to live the way sailors did during the Second World War. Imagine what it would be like to be a submariner. The sights, the sounds, the feel of it all. The Silversides allows Scouts to take a step back in time and experience it for themselves.
The Scouts like to come to us, and it's a great chance for them to have a wonderful night away in an area where they understand something of history. And they get to spend the night here at the museum actually sleeping on our submarine. And during that time we do a closing flag ceremony. They have their program, they get a tour of the submarine, they take a class, and then they enjoy an evening just like a submariner would have way back when.
In addition to the subaquatic sleepover, the museum also offers classes about the science behind the Silversides.
We run two programs here. We got a class called Subtech, which teaches everything from how a periscope works to how air pressure works for a torpedo to what neutral buoyancy is, and then showing them how a remotely operated submersible vehicle goes. And then we have another program here that teaches, and you put together an actual submersible remotely operated vehicle.
The museum is very proud to be able to work with all those involved in scouting. However, from the day the sub first arrived in Muskegon, the #1 goal of all those working behind the scenes at the USS Silversides was to honor the veterans who fought for their freedom.
The mission of the Silverside Submarine Museum, first and foremost, is to honor our veterans. Anything we do within our building is always meant to allow other people to know what people that came before them have done to preserve the freedom of the United States. And we do that through exhibits, we do it through lecture series and classes where we bring in authors and subject matter experts to come in to speak to the community. We do it by honoring people during our Lost Boat ceremony where we honor the 52 submariners who went down during World War II. And we also do a program called Honoring Our Veterans where we honor in memory of a local gentleman who was a Tuskegee Airman. We also run a program for that every year as well.
As the submarine approaches 80 years, it's full speed ahead for the USS Silversides. It may not be sinking enemy ships in the Pacific anymore, however, this floating piece of American history is doing something just as important, educating the future of our country. And as they say in the Navy, anchors aweigh! Reporting from Muskegon, I'm Jake O'Donnell.
Thanks, Jake. If you want to learn more about how the museum or stay overnight on board, visit silversides.org for more information, or visit them in person on Bluff Street in Muskegon.
Grand Valley State University prides itself on being a liberal arts college. That generally means a focus on literature, philosophy, math, and the social sciences. But in the case of our next story, reporter Sam Schrepferman focuses squarely on the art at GVSU.
GVSU is committed to showcasing a wide variety of art across the campus. Over the years, the university has acquired over 16,000 works of art, which wouldn't be possible without the curator of art exhibits, Joel's work.
So my role primarily is to be responsible for the art galleries on campus. for selecting what goes into them, for working with the artists, for working with the collectors, and to put together exhibitions. So essentially we're standing in one of the art galleries. There's an exhibition that's hanging here right now. My job is to find what we're going to put in the gallery and then plan for it and to install it.
Working closely with artists like Herb Murray, Swartz helped create the exhibition Ebb and Flow, a combination of Murray's past and present works.
We're standing in front of two other works by Herb Murray, which are, I would say, from his mid-career. They're very abstract in nature, and what I wanted to point out was the way in which Herb layers his paintings. And so, he works typically with a lot of very vibrant colors, but he works in layers and builds them up. And so you'll see with a lot of the pieces, they're very shiny, very glossy in nature because he covers them with enamel. But you'll see with this work over here, you can see there's a real depth to it where there's a base of colors that he's working with. But then he works with collaging even more layers.
Swartz is able to understand how to showcase works of art that have been donated to the university. Murray's work is just one example of this.
And so this exhibition in some ways has two roles. It's introducing Herb's work here, and it's celebrating the work that's already been here and drawing attention to it. So the exhibition is made up of loans from his personal collection as well as some private collections. And then there's some work here that's from the university collection, which they donated.
While Swartz takes into consideration the pieces the artists want to display, he also handpicks the pieces he thinks best showcase the artist.
For example, there are works in this exhibition I know that Herb felt were really important to him, both as in his development as an artist as well as works that he felt were important aesthetic works that were successful, I think. And so you'll find in the exhibition works that I think Herb, if he had to put together an exhibition, would have picked, but there's also works in here that he probably would not have picked, and those were because I was the one who was putting together this story. I was sort of the person from the outside looking at his career and selecting works for it. So
Herb had a long career in graphics and in advertising design, and so I think one of the things that you see in this work is that reflection of his long career in advertising design. Not only is it a very, it's of his daughter standing in front of a storefront, and on the door are all these different ads for different products, and so I think there's that relationship. But it's also a very flat painting. It's not a very dimensional painting, and so this looks very graphic in nature. And so I think that's one of the things that I really liked about this painting, is that this really reflects, in my mind, someone who works in advertising design. The painting is very flat, it's not very dimensional, and it reflects sort of his long career that he's had in advertising design. The painting that's next to it over here comes from a private...
Always open to new exhibitions to display. Swartz says that he receives many artists who reach out in regards to their work being displayed. One of the unique opportunities GVSU offers is to allow students the chance to showcase their work.
One of my jobs really is to work with those people and to sort of figure out which are good projects for us to work on that will eventually become exhibitions. We work with students. A lot of times you'll find exhibitions on campus that are from students that have studied abroad and want to share that experience, so we work closely with the Padnos International Center. We work with faculty who have sabbatical projects or research projects that they'd also like to share. We work with multiple artists from both Grand Rapids and West Michigan, as well as artists from around the United States and around the world too.
So it's not just for artists. The Haas exhibit currently displays painted works of art. In the fall of 2018, the gallery will change to photographs of Mars' surface, as well as displays of the biomedical sciences majors. Swartz says this is a great way to help understand that they are not just an art gallery.
Even though we're an art gallery and deal primarily with visual art, we go beyond that to share experiences from all disciplines here at the university. I think that's one of the wonderful things about working at a university art gallery with the university art collection is that we work with a lot of different departments and disciplines, and our goal is also to integrate the visual arts.
With 6 designated galleries in almost every building with GVSU campus displaying some type of artwork, Swartz says this makes GVSU special.
So I would say that Grand Valley really is committed to visual art, both on campus and as changing galleries, and that's one of the enduring values of Grand Valley State University is that there is that commitment. You go into any building, there's artwork. And I think that's something that you don't find at a lot of universities. In some ways,
while GVSU only displays exhibits for a short amount of time, All exhibits are digitally recorded and archived on GVSU's website. In Allendale, I'm Sam Schreferman.
Special thanks to Coy Wynn for contributing to that story. And if you have a passion for the arts, check out the GVSU Art Gallery page for new exhibits coming your way soon.
Now it's time for our weekly calendar of events. Check it out. Once again, it's time to bring you a story from WGVU Digital Studios. This week, we check in with our favorite food show, Order Up.
Hi there, I'm Jennifer Moss. It's time for another edition of Order Up. This week we continue our look at the Grove Restaurant on Cherry Street. Today we take a look at their farm-to-table dining. Jeremy, this is pretty exciting. We're holiday season, you've got a lot going on. Ton going on. We've been having a great conversation about some of this. So let's start with your farm to table aspect, because if anyone goes to your website, the first thing they're going to see is from farm to table dining.
Correct.
And so what is that to you? What does that mean to you?
You know, it's more of a philosophy around here and what we like to do here at Grove. It's kind of how we cook. It's how we order and purchase. I mean, we buy as much local as we can possibly get, which can be challenging this time of year, but we're still getting some great stuff. For us, it's just a circular relationship. It means, you know, we're buying as much local from people we know, people we've been doing business with for 5 years, that some of our other restaurants have been doing business with for 15 years. And it's fostering a relationship to where you have a trust with the farmer, and, you know, and it's where we can, hey, this is what Charlie Ham's telling me to buy this week. Well, he's going to steer me in the right direction. And so therefore, you know, that trust built with them, then I can build the trust with the customer on the other end by saying, hey, I'm using the best possible product we can get here locally, and this is what we want to do with it for you.
And it helps sustain the economy and the community, supporting each other.
Absolutely. You're keeping your money, you're local, you know, not getting avocados because we don't have avocados in Michigan. You know, we don't do that here. We're not, you know, just crazy about it, but we do as much as we can with what we have to work with year round. And that's how we base everything.
You've got octopus here, duck, PBJ. I'll let you say what these things are. But we were talking a minute ago, you've got beef heart, lamb belly, pig head, crab, boar.
Boar, all kinds of things.
All of these things, I mean.
You know, we like to you know, take unique items and make them familiar again, or try to introduce someone into something that they may have not tried somewhere else, or that they couldn't get anywhere else. That kind of makes us unique. We're not educating, we're just like, hey, give it a shot. What do you think? You know, and we run a tasting menu every night, so it's a great way to kind of introduce people to new things, because you can order 3 things, and maybe one's not exactly your favorite, but it lets you kind of dive a little bit out there and say, oh, I'll give that a shot, because, you know, I'll have 2 more that I can get that are very familiar to me, or a piece of salmon, or a shrimp, or something.
And when you were talking about the, like beef heart or lamb belly or something along those lines, I'm thinking, would I try that? And, you know, yeah, because you want to see what the, and again, it's local.
And it's trust, you know, so you build that, once you build the trust with the customer, which I think we've done a good job about, you know, by being consistent in the way that we cook and the way we approach food, that you can trust us, like we're not going to take you too far down a road to where it's like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. You know, and it's a good opportunity, to step out of the box a little bit. And if you don't want to, you don't have to either. I mean, we have a cheeseburger on the menu most days. I mean, we have.
But when you say most days, your menu changes every day.
Our menu changes daily.
How difficult
to some level. It can be challenging at times. It can be exciting. It can be exhausting. You know, it's really just kind of retraining the brain like how you think and how stuff comes in. You know, we're a small restaurant, so we buy small increments of everything, and it's based on availability. So if a farmer has 5 pounds of this, like, okay, I'll take it. Well, that might only get me 2 days. And he says, that's it for the week. Well, what am I going to do the other days? And so you have to think like that.
I was going to say, you have to always be thinking.
Always be thinking. So you are. I mean, we're always thinking. So you may see a menu with all the items on it. Well, I can guarantee you that at, you know, right now there's 5 more dishes getting worked on that may not hit the menu for 2 days. There's components being made here and there with a general idea of how it's going to look at the end, and it kind of just will evolve.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in again next week for another edition of Order Up. I'm Jennifer Moss.
Support for WGVU Digital Studios Order Up, provided by Spartan Nash. Spartan Nash, taking food places. More at spartannash.com.
As always, a big thank you to WGVU Digital Studios for that Order Up segment, as always, making me hungry. And if you want to check out more WGVU Digital Studio features, visit them on the web.
Well, that's all the time that we have for this week. I'm Kelly Hubbard.
And I'm Preston Cussy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
West Side Stories is produced by students from the Multimedia Journalism program at Grand Valley State University. Support also comes from the School of Communications, inspiring thought, perfecting practice.